Well, joining us now is Errol Morkoc, who is a Republican spokesman. Errol joins us from Virginia. Good to have you join us, Errol. So a lot of people are afraid to even, take the steps to, go self-deport, given some of what's happening at these immigration and naturalization hearing meetings that some people are showing up to and finding themselves in a bad situation.
Well, I would say the bad situation was brought upon by them, of course, crossing the border illegally, and the concept of offering them a safe and friction-free process to go home. It's very important to understand that any migrant can show up at any U.S. airport right now, prove that they're, I mean, very easy to prove they're undocumented, and request a flight to their home country, and it will be provided. Along with that, they will be given $1,000 stipend for doing so. And this will cost the U.S. taxpayer far less, by maybe 75%, than the current cost to actually capture and detain and deport somebody. So I certainly understand the fear of anybody who's caught in this very difficult situation. You had a regime that was in America encouraging people to effectively break the law. The current regime is very much against that, is very law and order focused. And I think that you've seen a lot of ICE raids at certain places, but as far as the self-deportation program, that's already been taken up by quite a few people, thousands of people. I'm not going to say many, but I think the last time I checked, around 10,000 people, and those people will be given a priority mechanism and to return to the country should they be able to prove that they weren't doing crime. They just came because the last president said open borders, please come in. And so in doing so, we're trying to do the most dignified and humane way, while also being firm and respecting the rights of the American citizens whose tax dollars are being spent on this situation. So I certainly understand their fears, but I think they're a little bit unfounded, in the sense that we're trying to give them a very safe and clean way to go home, as opposed to the dangerous and harrowing journey that they took here through smugglers and cartels and sexual abuse and trafficking. The route home is much safer, and I hope that message is clear. And if it's not clear, we need to work better to do so.
Do you think also that this is less cost, when it comes to the self-deportation law now? It seems like Trump wasn't achieving what he wanted. Initially it seemed that he wanted the numbers, or he wants the numbers to go up. So this self-deportation, executive order that's in place now, is it sort of less expensive? Because first you have to get the immigrants, you have to, get them, from the streets or wherever they get them from, and then investigate, and then all of that process. Do you think this is less expensive, and that is the reason why he decided to take this turn?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. The average estimate comes out to around $17,000 for the U.S. government to do, find somebody, capture them, detain them, give them certain due process, and then deport them. In this scenario, when you self-deport, you come to the U.S. government, you ask for the ticket. Yes, we pay the airline the full fare ticket. Yes, we give you $1,000, but the total expenditure comes out to just under or around $5,000. So you're saving the U.S. taxpayers two-thirds. And in doing so, you're also showing the U.S. government that you're willing to be a good actor and you want to come into this country legally, and you're taking that initiative. So it's a two-pronged thing. On the one hand, absolutely, we're saving money for the taxpayer. And the other thing is we're giving the migrant a dignified way to go home, and hopefully a route to return through a legal channel in the future.
Now, indeed, do you think the aim is also to discourage other illegal immigrants from entering the U.S.? Plus, why resort to self-deportation? Seems, the aim which you addressed already is not being accomplished, hence the push for, self-deportation. But I'd like for you to respond to, discouraging other illegal immigrants.
Yes, I think it is discouraging, and we're seeing those numbers every day at the border. I mean, you were having six figures of illegal border crossings a month, and now those numbers are down into the hundreds. It's very clear that this is not a country you can keep continuously coming into. We are 100% discouraging illegal immigration, while at the same time 100% encouraging legal immigration. And we want to actually, the Trump plan is to expand the number of visas given to people, and to have those visas be based on merit, not on random quotas. So we want to actually, in the long run, have more immigrants in America, which is, I'm an immigrant, America's a country of immigrants, but also have respect for the laws, and that's something that we need to, that this will be dissuading them. And as far as this as a tactic, it's important to realize this isn't the only tactic. ICE and the U.S. government is very much actively chasing down and capturing people. They've hired 20,000 new ICE agents. This is just another avenue that we're presenting. We're saying, hey, instead of having all these problems, why not just show up at the airport and we'll do this safely, compassionately, and it'll cost less. So it's another tool in the arsenal. It's for people who are willing and want to be compliant, but it doesn't mean that there's going to be any less effort put into going into communities and removing people who shouldn't be there, or removing people who are in gangs and actually involved in violent things, which is two levels of things. First, we're focused on the worst of the worst, and then after that, we have to deal with the people who are caught in a bad situation. But yes, we're trying to dissuade them, and hopefully that encourages legal immigrants to think that America is open for business if you do it the right way.
Indeed. Now, let's talk about what economists are saying with regards, pushing millions and millions of illegal immigrants out of America. How true is the report that the economy may suffer, being that we already know that Trump's aim is to make America great again, but then some of these migrants are the ones who are literally working, for years now. So how would that, burden the workforce in the United States?
Yes, it's really important to differentiate, because a lot of the people who've come in the last 4 years, I mean, 20 million people who came in, they overwhelmed even the amount of illegal labor jobs that were available. So on the one hand, yes, deporting people who have been here for 10 or 20 years, that there's more of a discussion to be had there. But then all we have to do is take a step back and look at Japan, for example, or the UAE. Why can't we have guest worker programs? Why can't we have worker visa programs like every other civilized country has in the world, without all of these weird stipulations? So at the same time as people are going out the door, we feel like we can bring in legal immigrants and people who are willing to do these kind of jobs. And then on the other hand, there is a moral situation. The corporations in the agricultural sector who are taking advantage of illegal labor, I mean, that is not okay. That is not moral. If you are selling groceries cheaper because you're able to exploit labor, that is not an American ideal that I want to be part of. And so certainly there's a moral situation in that. There's exploitation of labor, exploitation of the most vulnerable. If people had workers' visas and workers' rights, yes, you might see a little bit of an uptick in food prices, but that might be a more natural rebalancing than the current situation. So Make America Great Again encompasses everything, and it also encompasses national sovereignty. And above a cheap avocado, Americans deserve to live in a safe community. And I think that's where Donald Trump is pushing. And I really do believe that these jobs will be replaced with people who have worker visas and legal workers. I mean, they're not going to be able to take everybody out in one big chunk. And they're certainly going after the criminals first, and the people who are working hard and paying their taxes, they might have a better negotiating tactic or argument with the US government down the line. But currently, everybody who has broken the law is being treated in that way, shape, or form. And like we said, anybody who goes voluntarily will have a better chance to come back.
Thank you so much, Morkoc, for joining us from Virginia on Arise America.